Hi everybody, welcome to Sprague Woodturning. My name is Jim. If you haven't been here before, this is predominantly a turning channel. Each and every week, I show people how to make things on the lathe. Now this week is a little different content. If you're watching this video, we are probably currently moving to New Brunswick or already there. And this is going to be the sea container load from my drying shed. So the majority of the contents of my drying shed is going to be going into a sea container. Then we're going to ship that to the East Coast, and then of course we will follow that, and it will be kind of incorporated in the new shop build. So that's this video. I realize that this is not normal content, but I'm kind of forced to put this kind of stuff up. It was really difficult to pack up the workshop. Well, I haven't even really started packing up the workshop, to be honest with you, because I'm filming this ahead. So in order to make that happen, I got to put up content like this. And anyway, hopefully you enjoy it. And if you've got a move coming up from one location to another, look at a sea container, because it's certainly, it's not cheap to buy or move, but it might be the best alternative and give you a drying shed on the other end. So anyway, without further ado, this is the sea container load. So packing up a sea container, I have done this for overseas deployments, but I've certainly never done one for personal use. The big problem that we had here was that we had to make sure that we stayed under 8,000 pounds. There was no way that they were going to be able to pick it if it was above that. So everything that went into the sea container was weighed. Now the thing that's on the floor in there is my log lifting rig. I know that I don't show cutting boards all that much anymore, but I've got a lot of time and money invested in that, so I'm hoping to really get back into cutting board production once we get here in New Brunswick. And by the way, I am doing this voiceover in New Brunswick. We have made it. And anyway, I'm hoping that the audio was all right. I'm set up in a 1-bedroom apartment down here for the wife and I at an undisclosed location. And I'm in the process of going to be here in the next day or two, setting up the workshop, and so that we can start making some really cool stuff in the new temporary location. So yeah, special thanks and shout out to my buddy Terry and my son Jared. Jared stayed in the drying shed and was basically loading up bowls and pieces of wood on the wheelbarrow, and he'd wheel them out, and Terry and I would kind of load up the sea can. It was important that things were balanced. I was told that they would have to basically pick this off of the flatbed wrecker with a large forklift. So if it was really heavy on one end, that certainly could have been an issue. So we did our best to balance the weight out in this, and I think that we did a decent job. The baffles, or the wood partitions that you see me using here, that's actually my old booth. I didn't really know what to do with that, so I decided to recycle them and use them as baffles. That way, if it was picked up on an extreme angle, that all the wood didn't, basically pile to the back end of it, because that would have been bad. And I think I may show it coming up here, but that log lifting rig that's on the floor, we estimated it at about 1,000 pounds, and I screwed blocking all around the floor just to keep it from shifting around. All right, so I thought I'd show you what's going on here. Got a little support in so that hopefully keep everything from moving forward. This is probably, I don't know, 50-60% of the bowls. Might be a little better than that. So anyway, we're going to try and stack them up against this, and hopefully that will keep things from moving around. Anyway, back at her. The other thing you'll see is our old countertops. I figured that I would bring those with me and maybe incorporate those in the new workshop. So that's why those are in there. I think I estimated they're actually very heavy. I think we estimated them maybe at 300 pounds. We had a very large island in our last house, so it takes a fair it's pretty heavy. The wife and I moved it outside, and it was just about all we could manage, to be honest with you. It was pretty heavy. Well, for one of us anyway. So this is being loaded in October, and I'm telling you, we just had some really great weather this fall. It really helped with the move and packing things up because, you know, September, October can be pretty miserable months. It's kind of hit or miss. But we had really good weather, and anyway, you're going to see lots of sweating on me. Even my buddy Terry, who's in a lot better shape than I am, you can see some sweat on his back too. So it made me feel a little better because anyway, he's a lot more nimble and in better shape than I am. So to see some sweat on him I was actually kind of happy to see that. But anyway, it was a very warm day. But wow, I mean, just couldn't ask for better weather for the pack up and the move down east here, because, you know, I could have been just absolutely miserable, but it wasn't. So thank you, Mother Nature. We certainly do appreciate your help and cooperation. One thing to take note of, my buddy Terry is wearing the latest in safety flip-flop apparel that he got at our local shoe store. All right, I thought I'd show you this before we put in the second baffle. And yeah, that's a lot of boards, and that's a lot of bowls. And I'll try and get back here. If I fall and hurt myself. Yeah. So sorry about the lighting. It's not exactly the best, but we did throw some more stuff in here. And yeah. Oh, what a mess this is going to be on the other end. I am not looking forward to that. Anyway, we'll get this other baffle in, and then I think we're almost ready to quit for the day. Whew. A bowl, anyone? My booth sections are actually 8 feet tall, and of course, I tried driving it in there because, you know, sometimes I'm a little heavy-handed and strong-arm stuff. But anyway, we had to cut a little bit off of it so that we could put it in there straight-ish. But again, you know, it's so important. I just can't imagine them coming along and picking that thing up and all that wood sliding to the back of the sea can. They'd be able to get off the ground, but they never probably would have been able to pick it with the forklift because it probably would have been really, really tippy on one end. And again, very important to weigh everything that went here. Okay, so if you haven't been inside my drying shed, this is what we've got packed so far. This was completely full of boards all the way down, and on the top shelf was nothing but bowls all the way along, all the way back there. Same thing on the floor down here. These racks up here, these were all bowls. So really all we got left now is casting materials that are good and dry. So we're going to make sure these stay that way so that I'll be able to use them once we get to New Brunswick. And yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of really kind of odds and sods and nice little chunk of burl that will look great in a casting for something. And, you know, this is, you know, '09. There's going to be even wood in here that's a lot older than that. But anyway, all of this stuff, I've got to figure out what to do with it. Yes, the vast majority of this is going to be going with me. There's another piece of oak, red oak. I don't know if you remember, I did do a couple pieces with like a sight glass on the side, so that's how you do that. And of course, my peppermill stock. Lots of other highly figurative woods in here, so I've got to go through this. I won't be taking all of this, but I certainly be taking all the cherry, all the walnut, and any of the really highly figurative woods that are here. And you know, there's a big stack of walnut, and this just comes from processing walnut logs, because you know, usually you've got a pith in the very center here, and then you have another board on the other end. Well, that's where you get your two boards, and these make really nice cutting boards because they're a decent size. Anyway, that's an update on the shed. Still a lot of work to be done here. But, man, between the three of us, we certainly did put a big dent into what was in here. Anyway, I'll keep you updated as we keep going here. Can't go wrong with box elder burl. All right, so I was debating on if I was going to take this upright freezer or not. Then I realized that, hey, this will make a great storage bin for all of my small stuff that's in my drying shed yet. Same thing with this barrel. For a time, I did try boiling wood to try and dry it a little faster. Didn't work out, but I mean, that's a really deep cavity that I can fill with smalls. And then anyway, once this is full, we'll strap this down so that it can't move. I might even put some blocks on the floor like I did for the log lifting rig. Then of course we'll fill everything in the back here. I still have a fair bit of green wood to go in here yet that I still haven't processed. So, you know, it's that will certainly help balance the sea container out, because there's a fair bit of weight at the back, and I think by the time we get this all loaded up here in the front that this will be good as well. But we'll see. I am going to bring the rack that my pepper mill blanks were sitting on. I'll be able to reuse that at the new place, so that's what those shelves are for. And yeah, I'm going to wait for my buddy, and we'll be able to tackle this tomorrow. Hopefully that will be it for the drying shed. Hopefully. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Man, it's a beautiful day. So before they came back to help me, well, before Terry came back to help me the next time, I went through all of the pepper mills I was keeping and, you know, basically giving away. And, you know, I didn't really want anything for these. There's been a lot of people at my workshop that have, you know, given me either wood or, you know, gifts. So, you know, I basically, it was split between two guys. I'm not going to say their names. But anyway, they certainly were appreciative of it. And the good thing about it is all those pepper mills that I wasn't going to use could either be used to make pens or, you know, you name it. So, in, you know, of course, casting, because it's good and dry, and some of the stuff is really, really old. So, you know, I think that it was, I didn't want to see it go to waste. Terry's like, well, I'll take it home for firewood. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. It's too good of stuff to burn for firewood. Just all that time and effort to dry these pieces and then have somebody burn them. It was kind of my last alternative. I really wanted them to go to somebody that was going to make something with them and not just burn them. Although, you know, whatever. I mean, it's better to burn them than to send them to landfill, I guess. So, but anyway, they did go to a good home, and hopefully the two guys that got the stuff, hopefully they make great use of it. I'm sure they will. And I'm sure there's probably some people say, well, how come you didn't, you know, like list these for sale? And, you know, I probably could have. But, you know, my focus was on shooting content. And if I had taken all this time to try and even put it into lots and sell it that way, to me, it just, you know, it just didn't, I didn't have time. That's really all there is to it. There's nothing more to it than that. I left the packing up of the workshop to the absolute last minute, and if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have shut video production down a week earlier. It would have been a lot better when friends and family showed up to help out instead of just kind of a couple of days before they showed up. I was still in the process of packing a lot of stuff. My other son, Braden, did come up and help with that. But, it's just, oh man, so much stuff to do in order to get down here. And it's like I told my wife, I said, I'm never going to do that again. And that to me looks like a bear's face, so that's why I kept that. And I don't know, earlier in the video, Terry was writing his name on the bottom of a walnut bowl that he thinks he's going to get from me for helping out. Funny guy. So the freezer actually worked out quite well. Put a lot of really small stuff in there that, is going to stay contained in there. So that I'm actually glad that I didn't throw that out, because that was what it was going to be. We're going to put it down at the road for fall cleanup. And then I thought about this and I said, no, we'll recycle this and take it with us. All right, well, that's it. The freezer kiln is now loaded and the barrel is now loaded as well. So get these closed up, get some straps on them so they're not going to move around. And then we'll bring in some totes and put them here and fill those. This has also been quite an expensive affair. This is a 20-foot sea container, and it has vents on the side, this is kind of the sea container that I was really looking for, something that had some ventilation in it. Regardless, it still sweats in the summertime because I had this sitting here all summer. And so on the other end, this is going to be my drying shed. And the plan is I'll either remove the doors or just fold them back like the one on the right is. And I'll build a false front on it, and I'll put a fan up top. And of course that will push air through the sea can and hopefully prevent things from getting too hot. And also keeping the sea container from sweating. Along with that, I probably will spray foam the roof on this. And I'm hoping with the ventilation and with the spray foam that it'll act as a pretty decent drying shed, because it's going to be sitting pretty much in the open. So we're going to have to see how that goes and play that by ear. I ordered those black totes from Amazon. I'm really glad that I did. The reason you can hear noise here now is because this isn't a time lapse. Just sped up footage. What did I get? 18 of them, I think. They weren't cheap, but I was thinking, I need something that's going to be fairly durable. The roads here in Canada on the highways are not good. So I just had visions. If you had to put the stuff in boxes, I've checked inside the sea container and everything's fine here in New Brunswick. But I didn't go to the back to look and see how the boxes fared out in the back. So I was just, on the other end, I plan on using these totes in the workshop to store a lot of the stuff that's laying around and to neaten things up on a rack that, I'm going to buy. So, it was expensive, and, it's just sort of things that'll nickel and dime you to death. The tie down straps, the totes, the the scale, you name it. It all adds up. So, I think that in total, yeah, I know, I know that I'd put up something that's, it's 10,000 Canadian dollars to buy this and ship it. But, you can probably tack another $1,000 on there for odds and sods. And, it's, what do you do? I mean, you could sell all the stuff, but, you'd never, ever get your money back. Like, not a chance. I don't know what the assigned value would be in this, in raw, twice turned bowls, but, it would be into the probably 100,000 plus range in finished product. Like I said, we don't gotta be real, don't gotta torque that down.
I really don't think that's gonna be strong enough, but
it's not holding anything. It's not holding any weight. It'll be fine. Famous last words.
Yeah.
So we've got this canoe that I've had for many years, and never really used it very often. So, now that the property that we're going to be building on kind of backs onto a lake, I said, well, now, hopefully I'll be able to use this canoe more often. So we decided to throw that in there. I mean, it doesn't really weigh anything. And I just drove a couple of screws basically into those side walls and threw a couple straps over it. And I was actually really surprised when I opened it up and seen that the canoe was still sitting there, because I didn't think that it actually would stay, but especially on those rough roads through Quebec. But I was really shocked to see that it was still sitting there when I opened up the sea container doors on the other side. The other thing too I envisioned was opening up the doors and then having this avalanche of stuff falling out, but that never happened either. Everything was all strapped down and in its proper place. So I guess we did something right there. And just loading up the snow removal device from the roof, and there's not going to be a whole lot more going this except for kind of the green wood. I had to get this loaded and then film the last two roughing out videos that I did, and of course, I knew that I had some green wood that was going to go in here, and that's a bit risky going in here because there could be bugs and critters in that wood. So I had to leave enough room to get that in. I wasn't sure how much room was going to be in my truck that my brother-in-law was going to drive with the trailer and the U-Haul, so I had to leave room for it. Shockingly, it all worked out. All right, so we kind of shut down there yesterday, and I never really got a chance to show you inside the sea container here. So yeah, our freezer's full. 6 of these totes are full. For my shelving unit in the drying shed. This is for removing snow off your roof, for those who live in warm climates and have never seen this before. And of course, we put the canoe in here. It's just a big, bulky item, and it doesn't really weigh anything. So we figured that it would be a good idea to throw it in here. Just use some screws to hold it down, hoping that's going to be enough. It's a canoe. I don't think there's much can happen with it. Anyway, I'm going to hop up here, and then I can show you over there. But yeah, I mean, it's been a massive chore to do so. This stuff is for the shelving unit, so that's why that's there. Anyway, I'll hop up here and I'll show you what we got over there. Okay, I realize the GoPro is really probably not giving you that much depth of perception, but it's level with the freezer here. And of course, there's a shelving unit from inside the drying shed. I'll be reusing that on the other end. And yeah, I mean, we've tried to distribute the weight evenly within the sea container. We put a lot of stuff in the back, so we certainly don't want it, kind of end heavy. So that's why we put so much stuff up front. I still have some green wood to put in here as well. Yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of great pieces in here, future casting pieces. We did actually initially, I had that small piece of countertop just kind of hanging there. We took that down because, well, it wouldn't have survived anyway. But this was a ton of work, that is for sure. And of course, a lot of my casting pieces are going to be up front here and in these totes, so that when we get to the other end, I'll have access to them, easy access to them. But yeah, thankfully this is all done now. And yeah, there's that. We might want to, I don't know, might want to put something else on that. But overall, I think she's ready to go. Lots of room for the remaining pieces that I have to do. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's it for now. Kind of forgot to show you guys inside the drying shed here how empty it is. Yeah, there used to be a big rack here with all the peppermill blanks on it, a bunch of other stuff. It's empty. Yeah. Well, it was quite a chore doing so. But actually, Ward was up and dropped off some more wood, and these are all black walnuts. So when we get to New Brunswick, I'm going to start my own black walnut grove. That's the idea. You might recognize these pieces from my latest roughing out video. And the bowls went in the sea container along with some of the burls that had the bark on them that were roughed out. I just sprayed them with Raid, so hopefully if there's anything in the bark, that's going to get rid of them. And along with that, I sprayed these completely inside and out as much as I could with the Raid, so that'll be fine. These will go in my 16-foot trailer that my brother-in-law is going to be towing with my truck. Same thing with these tables, that will probably go in that trailer, and ladders and, you know, wheelbarrow. But anyway, I don't know what the new owner is going to do with this structure. This structure is actually 16 by 12, so it's a pretty decent storage shed. So anyway, that's it. It took some effort to get done. Thanks again to Jared and especially Terry. Terry was here a couple days to help me out. I really do appreciate it. Wow. It's really real now. Thought I would include this footage since a lot of people have probably never seen how these sea containers are delivered and picked up. But yeah, flat deck wrecker, and they just put a winch line on it, pull it on. This was where I was worried that there was going to be some issues due to the weight of this thing, so that's why everything had to be measured weight-wise. Just had these fears of not being able to pick it, and then what? So anyway, in a way, I wish that we kind of would have had wreckers like this on my last tour, because a lot of times we would be picking up stuff that was missing wheels, and you know, sometimes it was quite a hassle to get equipment out of certain situations where something like this certainly would have helped. And they did come out with a different system after I left the military. I think it was on its way in, but for the most part, all we had was a stinger. We call it a stinger on the back of the truck where you could drop it down and had a bar across it, and you could put different attachments on it. But certainly something like this may have gotten us out of some pretty sticky situations, and definitely could have used one on my last tour, that's for sure. A lot of things were missing wheels, so they're tough to pick. It's a good thing we got a large driveway. And there it goes, on its way to New Brunswick. She bottomed out when he left. Anyway, that's 7,640 pounds of wood. All right, well, that's going to do it for this video. I realize it's not my regular content, but like I said, in order to get the workshop started to be packed up here and the sea can loaded, like I had to do that all prior to. Well, I mean, the workshop, as you can probably see in the background, at this stage hasn't been started yet. But when I shut this camera off, I'm going to start packing because I got no choice. We're less than a week now from the move. Before I let you go, if you remember the project that I did called Bad Hair Day, where I had a really bad leak and all of the rice got penetrated with some purple epoxy. Well, my neighbor up the road, Derek, wanted that rice and epoxy, and he thought it would make a cool pen. So that's what this is. That's white rice with purple epoxy. And, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the rice, but I can certainly appreciate the turning aspect of this. So this is a beautiful pen. So thanks a lot, Derek. Nice twist pen. And also, he was digging through my butternut scrap pile and pulled out some really nice butternut and made a pen for me as well. The chatoyance on that there. Anyway, butternut is a really pretty wood, and it's nice to see it be used by somebody instead of going to the fire pit. So again, another twist pen. Absolutely beautiful. Thanks again, Derek. All right, well, that's going to do it for the video. Like I said, I'm shooting this to try and get some videos ahead, some content for you guys while the move is happening and while I'm setting up on the other end. So hopefully by now, everything is all good. But I guess we'll see. Knock on wood. Hopefully everything's, hopefully we're there and I'm set up by now. All right, well, that's it. I don't know what we're going to be doing next week, but please come on back. Hopefully it's something cool. All right, well, that's it. Take care. Stay safe. Don't forget the bell. Please share my videos with your friends. That is the largest way for me to build my presence here on YouTube. And if you can give me that thumbs up, if you like the content, please do that because that will also help with the algorithm. All right. Have a great weekend. See you next week.